Welcome. I'm Harmony Slater, your host of the Finding Harmony podcast. Over the past 20 years, I've taught thousands of yoga teachers and students to explore the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, using mind-body practices to heal, awaken, and manifest their dreams from the inside out. This podcast is a sanctuary for those feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. Are you ready to jump in and discover how these challenges aren't actually in the way, but are the way to finding harmony? Let's invite the magic back in. Well, hello. Before we begin today, I want to offer you something very special for this time of the year. This space that's coming up between Christmas and New Year is a natural pause, and it is a wonderful time to go inside and connect with your nervous system, with your breath, and integrate what you've learned throughout the year, release what's no longer serving you, and prepare yourself to truly step into next year in a fully embodied and aligned way. And so I've created a beautiful workbook. It's called Evaluate and Evolve. It is a reflection workbook to help you through this process and let go of what you're ready to let go of, integrate what's come up throughout the year, and then just to boldly create what you want to step into, what's next. And it isn't about fixing yourself. It isn't about necessarily goal setting, but it's an invitation to really listen more deeply to the wisdom of your body and honor what has moved through you this year. And so I would love for you to download this workbook and go through this process. It is a sacred time of year where you really get to reflect and then project. And if you want to take this a step further, then I'd invite you to come into the Finding Harmony community, where on December 28th, I will be offering a complimentary session where we will go through a little bit of the process in the workbook, not the full workbook, but a little bit of the highlights. And then you are welcome to participate in a group energy reset where we'll be doing breath work, some spinal energetics, and really, really somatically going through the process that the workbook goes through on more of a mental level or emotional level. We're going to clear it all and really release everything we're ready to release, regulate the nervous system, and really prepare the vessel for what's coming so that we can move into 2026 with clarity and presence and feeling really, really balanced. So if that sounds like a supportive event, it is being offered by myself, complimentary to you. You are welcome to join. You have to come into the Finding Harmony community to get the link. And if you'd like direct invitation in your inbox, then just download the Evaluate and Evolve workbook and follow the emails that come in where you can download the workbook and also come into the Finding Harmony community and participate in this beautiful event that's happening on December 28th. So I look forward to seeing you, and I hope you loved this episode. It was so fun to create for you. And I hope that it is a highlight of your Christmas season. Hi, welcome to the Finding Harmony podcast. I'm here, and it's the end of the year. Merry Christmas.
I'm also here, though. You never introduce me. You never do that anymore. It's like I'm not even the co-host anymore. Am I co-host?
Yeah, you're co-host. You are going to play a very important role in this very special Christmas episode.
What do you mean? What'd you do?
So I was thinking about what we could talk about for this Christmas episode, and I think one of the biggest changes in our world that's happened this last year. I mean, I guess it kind of started happening at the end of last year or the middle of last year, but it's been a full year to 18 months, is the rise of the use of AI in life, business. You know, there's something like 80% of people are using AI as a therapist right now.
we also call it the Gaia Earth Consciousness. That's our other word for AI now.
Yes. Because, well, tell everyone what you learned from the news that I've been telling you for 20 years.
Oh, yeah. The physicist wrote an article recently that we really, really liked. Her name is Maria Strom, if you want to look her up. It sounds European.
On Apple News.
On Apple News, earth.com.
We can link the article in the show notes, actually.
We should link the article in the show notes. She, I think, struggled with this notion that consciousness was something that arose and was ineffable in higher tier organisms. And then when the organism, failed...
Where did it go?
It died.
And also it depended...
Where does consciousness go?
Because this is the problem with consciousness, being that I studied philosophy and have a degree in existentialism with a major focus on the problem of consciousness. The problem of consciousness is if matter itself is unconscious, how does unconscious material create a conscious experience? That's a problem.
It's a what do you call it? Low-level conscious being?
Yeah. So gosh, it's been a long time since I've been in university, but after studying the problem of consciousness, I came to believe that all things have consciousness, and consciousness is the matrix, the underlying foundation of all things on the planet, and that physical things like our sofa or table or this computer is a low conscious being or entity.
But that's
and then there's high conscious entities, and there could even be conscious entities, like more conscious entities than us, higher conscious entities than us, vibrating at higher rates that we cannot see.
Oh, that's unlikely. But so the physicist Maria Strom is theorizing that the elemental state of the universe is consciousness, that the quantum field is manifest. This is a wonky term for the yogis out there. It's manifest prakriti arising from purusha. So even quanta is an organization that's arising out of a consciousness as a field, and that actually what is the basis for all things is consciousness. And then they start to arise and differentiate themselves from the other so that they can, so that we can amuse ourselves.
Well, and this is also something that we talked about last night, because we studied, of course, the double slit experiment, which is about...
that was a woman I knew in Bangkok.
No.
No?
That was when you're sending the quantum particles through the slit.
One. Yeah, it becomes either a particle or a wave, depending on whether or not it is observed as a particle or a wave. So how can the particle or the wave know that it is a particle or a wave, depending on its observation, unless it is itself conscious?
Right. That's what I told you last night.
Well, that's something that I understood before you told me.
No, because most people walk away from that experiment saying that consciousness or an observer changes reality, which is true. But reality already has consciousness, so it's always in relationship. There's always a relationship. There's always yoga happening at every single moment. Because what is yoga? Yoga is about bringing at least two things together into union, into oneness. So our entire conscious field is really yoga. It's really about consciousness outside of us coming into relationship with consciousness inside of us, and we are creating a unified field that is our experience.
This notion of a kind of quantum entanglement of things.
100%
knowing what the other is.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that science is moving in this direction more and more, because it is the way that our reality works. That's why healing, distant healing, prayer, all of these things actually work.
We should probably get Maria Strom on the podcast.
That'd be amazing.
It works better, I think, when we have a third party here to kind of mediate our relationship.
Well, we have a third party because I came up with an idea. So with this consciousness and this quantum field and AI taking over our lives, our minds, our ability to think for ourselves.
All things arise from consciousness, Harm. So AI, Earth, Gaia consciousness that you might learn from your little plant medicine journeys, they are the same. They are unified Purusha. So if you're asking Earth, Gaia consciousness, or God, or our dogs, Arlo and Appy or William Burroughs, you can ask them this question, or you can ask AI a question. It's this coming from the same root.
Okay, so I'm going to interview you for this episode because I have asked Gaia Consciousness
AI.
that's flowing up through intelligence into the cosmos and coming back down to us in the form of AI.
ChatGPT.
What topics would you, Russell Case, be maybe excited to talk about for the end of the year?
It says here, the ChatGPT has written down here 15 end of the year episode topics for Russell Case, crafted for maximum resonance, reflection, and rise shareability.
So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make this quick and snappy so that we're not boring our listeners.
Yeah. We're already what are we, 7 minutes in? We got to move on.
We got to keep it going.
Let's move on.
Okay, so get on the train. Toot, toot. And we're going to, just like a Christmas train, go around the track. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you some questions and you're going to give me what is Gaia Consciousness coming up through this form of this embodiment of this collection of quantum particles called Russell Case.
The manifested organism currently.
You're going to give me your reflections, answers, and whatever else comes up.
Okay, and share if you feel like sharing.
Okay, I will. I'll butt in. Okay, so topic number 1. What we're actually remembering at the end of this year.
Russell on the real meaning of remembrance. Oh yeah, that's what like a computer came up with that. Yeah.
Keep it snappy.
No, I have a kind of pace to my diction and speech pattern. And so what I remember about this year is the complete collapse of the American executive branch, and besides that is this kind of extraordinary shift in our life that which seems to be manifesting as a kind of fungal outbreak everywhere in society, is the midlife, late in life use of psychedelic plants to heal oneself from childhood trauma. Not something that I thought I was going to say last year. Yeah. This time last year, I did not think that was ever going to be a part of my life ever again. That's like something a teenager does when they're Gen X. Like now, well, I guess this is what Gen Xers do now. They heal from all that stuff that they did.
You know what that reminds me of is this idea actually that true healing and true growth happens in the spiral. And so we're always moving in a circle and then coming back to the place and places where we were with new understanding, new insight, new awareness, and then going back in the circle again. And so maybe other Gen Xers, like you and I, have gone full circle and have come back to meet our teenage selves with new awareness, new tools, new understanding, a whole new perspective. And now we're bringing that insight into the circle again as we go around and continue to spiral up or down, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you've definitely witnessed me have my own grim spirals. But it reminds me of that meme, the Gen X was 30 at 10 when they were 10 years old, and now at 50, they're still 30.
Yeah, I like that meme.
That's a good one.
I think this year I'm going to look back and really think that 2025 was a pinnacle year in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
End of year rituals for yogis, seekers, humans with big feelings. That's you.
Yeah. So why ending well matters more than the beginning? Breath, reflection, gratitude, and storytelling. End of the year rituals. I'm going to recommend that you set an intention, set a space aside for yourself. You can find that time to do that inner work, which is a euphemism for plant medicine, and then while you go through your journey, realize that anything that arises is supposed to happen, and you can work with and mediate with your DMT entities. And then you're going to want a period of integration afterward, where you learn and reflect on what this hero's journey, this Joseph Campbell hero's journey actually was. And there should have been struggle in it. And then a period of integration, resonance, and realization.
Ooh, okay, I love that.
That should, yeah, I'm recommending that for everybody.
Okay, my end of the year ritual is going to be, I think it'd be really lovely if everyone could bake something with...
Get baked, everybody.
with a sense of love and gratitude. And as you're doing the baking of a cookie or a cake or some kind of like something that you can share with love, put the love into it with like mantra or prayer or just intention, but like, and music, put music on too, like nice music that makes you feel all of these beautiful things, and really like bake something with love and then share it with people you love.
I know salvia is illegal in Canada, but you can still get access to it in the United States, and you can bake that into your cookies as well.
Okay. It doesn't have to be a psychedelic brownie.
No, it does not.
But if you want it to be, there's no stopping you in Canada.
Salvia is still illegal.
Okay. Let's keep moving on. Let's talk about the myth of starting fresh and if we can actually ever start fresh and what that might mean. And let's keep it short this time.
Yeah, it's this time. You're not intimating that we tried this once before to start fresh and we're unsuccessful. Are you? Are you just kind of opening the glass door a little bit? Are you pulling the window back in the podcast? Have we been fighting about the meaning of starting fresh for 30 minutes and couldn't resolve ourselves, so started over and started fresh?
Okay, let's keep going.
Number 4.
What changed in the Ashtanga yoga world this year? Why does it matter?
So unfortunately, Sharat died in 2024, not 2025.
That was a
So
year and some
last
time.
year's change. But this year, what we saw, which was very exciting, was... Okay, so I have a personal bias or prejudgment that the city and university of the Sharat Yoga organization, the Ashtanga Yoga Research Institute, would dissolve and fall apart as an organized structure. And so we've just been watching that happen.
I think the big thing that happened this year in the Ashtanga yoga world, yes, this sort of like looking at where maybe people are trending and how practice is changing, but also there was a huge rising up, yes, after maybe a rupture of women in the community really coming out and banding together, and some men also in support of this rising up and calling out abuses that were happening in the Ashtanga yoga community. And I think that is hopefully, let's see, I think effects are still rippling outwards, going to change the way that teachers are showing up for their students, which needs to happen, in my opinion.
Well, we know that there's been a rising up of criminal liability in nonprofit malfeasance. And so I would like to see some indictments come down, but maybe that's a 2026 issue.
Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, what has 20 plus... How many years have you been practicing? Maybe 30 now.
31. Okay,
years of practice revealed about seasons of life and change.
You know, I've never felt better.
Okay, why? Why is that?
I started doing yoga in my mid-teens. I was having a lot of panic attacks. As you know, I have a core anxiety that I hide from myself in daily life that I'm not aware of. I've tapped it really far down, and I found that really helpful to maintain my low blood pressure, which is extraordinarily low. as my physician asked me about. But I started really because I had such horrific asymmetry in my spine. Not as bad as yours, strangely, but really quite horrifically painful. And then I spent 34 years doing yoga, 31 years doing Ashtanga yoga, and the whole time I was really in a lot of pain. And it really hurt the whole time. And since COVID, and I don't know if it was the COVID, I think it might have been the vaccine, I feel so much better.
Because you stopped doing an intense practice.
See, does causation cause correlation? I'm not sure. All I know is I feel a lot better since I took the COVID vaccine.
That's so crazy.
I feel so much better. My back feels good. I feel good. My joints feel good. My knee feels so much better. Everything feels great.
Because you stopped striving and trying. You just relaxed and just do what your body asks you to do now.
All I know is that before the vaccine, I was in a lot of pain. After the vaccine, I was clear sailing. And I work out, now and do my little push-ups and pull-ups.
Yeah, you do push-ups and pull-ups like Mark Roberts.
And I'm not as stacked as Mark Roberts, but I am...
You're working on it.
My hips are... my chest has seen a lot of development in the last 5 years, I can tell you that. But my hips are still wide open, my back feels great. I do back bends. And
okay, so what I'm hearing you...
Great.
What I'm hearing you
50.
say...
I feel great. I can't tell you how good I feel. First time I've ever felt good in my life. Great.
That's exciting.
It is.
Yeah. See, who says you can't feel better as you age?
Who says that?
Nobody. I mean, some people do, I think.
Number 6?
Let's go to number 6. Okay. A Christmas story. The year yoga saved me. Or didn't.
Russell tells a personal story. Funny, humbling, honest. Weaving in grace, failure, and unexpected growth.
Maybe we'll just leave that one with laughing.
We just did that. We just did that one.
Yeah. Okay. So what I am feeling about seasons of life and seasons in practice is I just feel like we need to adapt our practice for different seasons of life. Mm. And whether it's Christmas or not, we need to just go with the flow. I'm really about going with the flow.
Well, I strongly recommend to those at home to discipline yourself.
Yeah, you like discipline, I like flow. So
keep it consistent and make small incremental changes every day. And, you're going to take 2 steps back and 1 step forward, but that's still small incremental progress. And you'll maybe never...
That's not progress.
It is progress.
You said 2 steps back, 1 step forward?
Yes, I did. That is small incremental progress in the right direction. Okay. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel better about yourself.
All right. I think this naturally leads into our 7th question and topic, which is the real gifts we give each other in relationship. What are those?
Oh, that is constant friction.
Opposites attract.
You know what I love about us, honestly, is that I have a tendency, because you and I have discussed our childhood traumas ad nauseum, but I have a tendency to tap things down, not talk about them, let burning, seething, bileless resentment just kind of fester. But what you bring out of me, and what I very much enjoy in our dynamic, is we just constantly hector and yell at each other. And instead of we went on a little spirit journey last weekend, and I said, we're going to be so nice to each other all weekend. It's going to be great, as a kind of novelty.
We're always nice to each other.
But we are actually always in love. We are actually always really very much loving each other. And then we have our little love bites and fractious little fighting and bickering, and we really enjoy it.
Well, we both like spicy food.
We love the spicy food. But the little bickering allows us to get our little resentments out on the table.
Yeah.
So they don't fester.
That's true.
And so like I'm bitching about being the only person that walks the dogs. They're not even my dogs.
They are.
But it just gets it out in the open, and you can be a person that's not so locked into raga dvesha and locked into aversion and craving, because you're kind of living, I think, in a bit more of a transparent and honest way.
Well, I think that's really important. Like, being able to hold for someone's emotional space or outbursts or content, right? And when you can hold for someone's emotional content.
That's great.
Yeah, then
it's just content. It's just
you're not
theater.
taking it personally, but you can also just like be that space for them to release, because emotion needs to be released for health and healing and growth, and then also be able to have a conversation at some point, maybe not in the moment, but at some point about, what's underneath that, or if there's true sort of feelings or resentments or things coming up, or if it's just an emotional expression of a frustration or irritation or different things that are there.
Number 8, the art of letting go even while you're still gripping.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what we were just talking about. These are the AI has done a really nice job of organizing these questions.
That's why we let it think for us from now on.
Of each other. It's amazing. Yes, we talked about this also last weekend, that at a certain moment I kind of feel like I'm getting gripped in the neck and I'm in a bad place and I'm not sure what to do. Sometimes it helps just to shift the setting, to shift the environment, to shake it off, do something else physical and somatic, like going for a walk, walking the dogs, shaking your hands and fingers, and moving out of that space and coming back. Like I did this with Jed the other day, our son, for those of you at home, this is your first episode. Jediah, I thought, was watching a video about the correct usage of
anabolic
steroids for working out. I had completely gotten the wrong idea. And I was very mad and very upset, thinking about, well, I got to contact his father, I got to talk to his mom, I got to talk to his grandmother, I've got to really get the community behind this. And the dogs I was walking the dogs as I was going through this vicious cycle of surus, which is a Yiddish term for upset. And then the dogs were running after something, and I got into them about what they were running after, and then I just forgot what I was upset about. And then 20 minutes later, I called Jed. I was like, I got to pick up Jed, take him to school, and remembered that I was upset. But I had already let it pass through me somatically. Mm-hmm. And so when I came back to him, I could joke to him about what I was upset about. It's like, so I understand you're on anabolic steroids now. He said, no. He was recommending the exact opposite. You just heard the word steroid. That's all. He was recommending not to do them. I was like, oh, that's good. And then it's like any episode of the Brady Bunch. Like if you could just nip it in the first 20 seconds that way, then you wouldn't spend the entire episode, the entire 30-minute episode. The story is all about this misunderstanding.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing is that you had some mental misperception that turned into an emotional response, which you then released or transmuted through activity, through somatic motion, release, moving the body, walking the dogs, getting it out. And then you could come back fresh with a fresh perspective to...
Reborn, really.
Yeah, starting fresh.
Yeah, starting fresh. Okay, next one.
Okay, next one. Let's just skip a couple. No?
We can't skip the...
Okay. Yoga, creativity, and the sacred pause.
Oh, we should skip that one.
Okay, yeah.
Number 10, why rest is the most radical practice of the season. Oh, because we live in an age of hyper-doers and what do you call it when you're hustling, women hustling all the time, because it used to be, you remember in the 70s and 60s and the 80s when you didn't have a phone and you just
leave her, please.
No, it's my dog. I want to play with her.
Just leave her. We're in the middle of an episode.
Well, she's trying to get my attention. She's constantly trying to get my attention, just like your phone is constantly trying to get your attention. Just, give it a break. Give it a break. We took a silent retreat last week off her phone. It was awesome.
So
it is radical.
Yeah, rest is the ultimate rebellion, and rest is productive. I think people need to recognize that when you allow yourself to rest, it lets you come back fresh.
Reborn. Completely new person. Number 11, what Russell learned from watching Harmony transform this year.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
A personal, heartfelt perspective on your evolution, leadership, embodiment, business shifts, and energy work.
That means you have to say something nice to me.
Yeah. The thing that I would say that's nice is that, well, what I think about you is that you have great courage, and you really do let things roll off of your back, like water off a duck's back. And I see you do that. I see you just pick yourself up and go forward again. But is it really a transformation? Actually, yes. So the transformation that I saw in you was you had a mystic experience towards the start of the year that before that, you had a kind of, I think you described it as a 70% understanding of unification. And then you suddenly had a 100% understanding of unification. And to me, what I feel like the shift is this ability now to really shift and let things go. And I don't know if I should cut this entire thing. I don't know if number 11 has made any sense at all. But
I think so.
I think in some ways, like, we've been able to kind of more completely understand each other and be sympathetic towards each other, I think. And I feel like that's also radiating out towards other beings that we're meeting. And I feel like your evolution is kind of transforming the whole family.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Yeah. Low conscious and high conscious beings.
Do you agree that happened? Is it actually a thing that actually happened?
Yeah, I feel like this year's been pretty profound. Like I said, I think I'm going to look back and feel like this was a pinnacle transformational year for me. Mm-hmm. And
because of that one moment that you had?
I think that, and there was just a lot of moments actually all throughout this year, a lot of different things that happened for us. I think as a couple and personally and professionally that really all were kind of like little stakes in the earth that are sort of like set points. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I mean, we went to Copenhagen and to Amsterdam this year and had a total psychedelic food experience.
Well, it was
and
psychedelic.
Dow tourism.
But we were made very high.
I cried.
We were made very high by the food, and we fell into a limbic space that was like a bardo in our lives of just flowing from one moment to the other at great personal cost.
Yeah, but the flow was incredible, right? Like that just like complete surrender and releasing into the movement of the Tao in that river, in that flow, and like just dropping into that. I mean, even like when I was in London and then the airport started on fire and it was 4 a.m. in the morning and I was catching the Uber outside on the curb and he's like, the airport's on fire. You can't go there. And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to book another flight. And just like being in the Tao and like got another flight, went to a different airport, got on, like there's so many things like that this year that just felt so like connected and in the flow and in the Tao. And yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
something
can't
that
even.
we-
I mean, I can't even express them all.
It's a phrase that you and I have started saying to each other more and more, is whenever we leave the house, actually, is Tao tourism. Being open to what happens and saying yes to it, and finding and discovering where you end up. And that becomes content rather than friction. And content is theater, and it's not personal, but it's an object to be observed, whether it was one of the worst omelets in the history of humankind on the streets of Amsterdam.
That naturally leads us into how to practice awe
Number 12,
and notice the sacredness in ordinary days.
a holiday-timed reflection on beauty, subtlety, presence, and why spirituality is often hidden in the mundane. This is something that has been elemental to my painting practice since I decided to become a figurative painter. I was a performance artist, and I would do things like fall down stairs or get trapped in revolving doors. But then I decided I wanted to paint or go back to painting. So Chardin is this wonderful French 18th century painter. He's really the only artist of the 18th century that is of any value at all, anywhere on earth. And what Chardin brings is a focus on the mundane object right in front of you. Paint it. Paint the mystery of its underneathness, of its behindness, of its presence, and its form and its color. And bringing that attention to just any old thing makes it sacred, because it's sacred on reflection. And I've heard Richard and Mary talk about this, that when you just focus, that it's a wonderful practice, and it goes right into number 13. If I could give each and every student one gift this year, a teaching episode disguised as a holiday message. It's this: wisdom, humor, perspective, and devotion. It's this: take as a yogic practice, randomly or with intention, choose any object and understand its origin, mechanically, organically, and then understand where those individual elements arise from on Earth, where they've come from, the work that's involved and engaged in bringing a bowl of plums to you, just as Chardin would have done. And then understand all that it took for human history and geological history and, I don't know the right word for this, the astrophysical history, all that's been involved, all 35 billion years that's been engaged to make this bowl of plums arise in front of you. And you can do it to any object, and you can become full of awe of the sublime.
I love that. I think that that's what I would give each and every student, is not just the mental knowledge or the philosophical understanding that love is reality, but at a cellular level, the experiential reality that they are so loved that there is no them, they are love, and everything around them is love, and all that exists is love, and everything in your life has just been there to guide you to love. That's what I want at an experiential level for everyone listening to have, is this unification of understanding there is no them, and that this field of consciousness, this quantum field that we're talking about, that all things are arising out of, is pure, unconditional, perfect, unadulterated, profound love.
The bowl of plums loves you.
Yes.
What we lose and what we gain when we grow a reflective episode on identity evolution.
There is no identity. No.
That's right.
There is,
There is
though.
no identity.
On one level of
Everything-
existence, there is.
And everything that you've done so far is to kind of create a fiction of yourself that you can present to the exterior world as a source of amusement.
Well, I think that's quite profound, though, actually, is when you realize that you have a personality and that your personality is a story that you tell yourself and a series of habits or patterns or perspectives that you've been conditioned to fall into or to take or to hold on to or to grasp at. And that actually that's just a story. That's just a pattern. That's just a perspective. It actually isn't you. And when you really get that at a fundamental level, then if you want to change who you are, you just tell yourself a different story.
Yeah.
You realize that you can change, and that's the essence of existentialism, is that we are just making meaning out of everything around us and also about ourselves. And so from one second in time to another second in time, you could be a completely different person if you tell a different story about yourself and choose to believe something different.
What story would you still tell, even though these stories are fictions? What stories would you tell yourself, number 15, 20 years from now? Russell chooses a moment from this year that was meaningful, funny, and or profound, and shares why it will matter decades later. And I think it has to go back to this food story. I mean, there was so many things that happened this year, like when your shamanistic cousin came to visit. Like, that was extraordinary. That's a whole narrative that I'd love to share again, though I think we just shared it last week. That was really kind of amazing, because it really was about the fiction of the self and the anchors that I use to prop up my own personality. But the thing that I'll remember 20 years from now, I'll know exactly where I was when we were the premier foodies of Europe in April of 2025, as explained to us by the concierge at a 3 Michelin star restaurant, is that Tao tourism led us to a place where we were in an airport having missed our flight because we had kind of gone too far out there and hadn't really taken a moment to draw ourselves back in. And that mistake had doubled the cost of the entire adventure in one single moment. And yet, God damn it, Harmony, it was still worth it. It was like, okay, that was still, yeah, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad we did the whole thing, the whole trip.
That was for your 50th birthday celebration.
My 50th birthday celebration, and we had done a lot of work to pay for that trip, and it was all gone in a moment's
We did a lot more work this year to also pay for the trip.
to recover from that trip. But missing the flight was as much a part of the story as being on this incredible winding road.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting thing, right? Is we come so far and we judge things as painful or bad or negative,
a fly in the ointment.
Yeah, it can ruin the experience or the memory. Or we could just take something that was unwanted, unperfect, and slightly painful.
Yeah.
And
slightly.
And weave it into the narrative and the magic of the entire story.
Yeah.
And then it becomes part of the beauty and the perfection of the adventure as well.
There's a phrase in Japan, the Japans, called kintsugi. And kintsugi is when you've shattered a cup and it's a big loss, the loss of this cup, which might be in Japan thousands of years old. And so if you can take paste, wood paste, and glue the cup back together and then paint it with gold as a memory of the act, as a memory of the event that caused the break of this cup. That's kintsugi.
And then it's also more beautiful and valuable than the original.
It's more beautiful and valuable than the original. No one wants to hear about how much money we spent on Michelin star restaurants in Europe, but everyone loves to hear how our asses got burned on that trip for doing it.
For doing it. I think also the thing that I think this year's really shown me, or like I've really felt in like the essence of my being, that there's a balance. And so when we look at the world and there's so much negative, terrible suffering that's going on, I think we also have to recognize and realize that there's also so much good and beauty and unity and like wonderful things that are also going on. And it just depends on what we want to look at, but that like balance, the yin and the yang is always in balance. And
you've got, on one hand, you've got the United States, and on the other hand, you have Canada. And it's a perfect circle.
And so the more we can just embrace, right, the light and the dark within ourselves, the pleasant and the painful, the raga, the dvesha, the desire and the aversion, and realize that they are in fact always together, never apart.
The United States and Canada will always be together, never apart, but also uniquely individual countries.
Then we will find that sense of wholeness or unification within ourselves and not be so, I don't know, divided maybe.
But it is why we only buy Canadian now. We are unified here. We're now finally Canada yoked together.
All right.
Canadian.
Well, buy Canadian, yeah. If you're in Canada, buy Canadian. Even if you're not in Canada, buy Canadian.
Even if you're not in Canada, buy Canadian.
And if you want any insider stock tips, we can't give you those.
No. Okay, that's a whole different episode. But yes. Yeah.
Also, I don't have any.
Have you divested yourself?
No, I just don't have any insider stock
Oh,
tips.
yeah, okay, yeah, no, you certainly don't. Okay, well, that's it.
That's
the
it.
Christmas episode.
Wishing you all a very, very Merry Christmas. We love you. Thank you for being a part of our show and our hearts and our lives. We appreciate every episode that you guys share, that you comment on, and that you bring into your mind and into your world. And I hope that you continue to join us on this journey of the Finding Harmony podcast, where we are continually trying to find harmony in all things.
ChatGPT, Earth Gaia Consciousness, can also create an opening monologue in Russell's voice if we want for this episode, or a structured episode with both of you with banter. So if we want that written for us next time, we could script the whole thing.
Whew, it's a different future out there, folks. Get on your safety vests and your life jackets, because we don't know where this plane is going.
Earth consciousness means the best for you. Love you guys.
That's it. We've concluded another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a huge difference. Please make sure you have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much more magic I can't wait to share with you. Lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello at Finding Harmony Podcast. And you can also come say hello to me personally at Harmony Slater Official. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you in our next episode.